All right, what's up, everybody? This is another episode of Behind the Cards, and I have Dylan from DoubleD Vintage Sports Cards. Dylan, what's up, man?
Man, I'm stoked. Thank you, Theo, for having me on here. Really excited.
Yeah.
Been looking forward to this for a while. And yeah, dude, I love your show, all the guests you have on here. It's really fun to learn a little more about everybody, behind the cards, like just what goes through their heads when they're buying cards. And so it's fun. So thank you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, you've been one of my biggest supporters, man, and I always appreciate it. You send me pictures of you watching the show in your living room, and I think that's so cool, man. So thank you for your support.
Well, dude, I got a letter from you. One of my first letters I ever received, handwritten. I was literally just in the drawer trying to pull it out, and I couldn't find it. It's in there, but you gave me that Freddie Patek card. And was that from your dad's collection?
No, that wasn't from my dad's collection.
Yeah, I love that. I was super stoked, and that letter meant a lot to me. Yeah, so greatly appreciate
that. I love the shirt. You got the.
I had to wear
it. You got the Stargell shirt on, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Nice. I was gonna ask, you and John have these shirts. How many? Because yesterday's episode of your channel, you actually had a card shirt on. How many shirts do you have?
I think I have like probably 8 or 9. I think I started the whole. I'll take credit. I think I started the whole thing. It's this company online called Homage.
Okay.
And so it was before YouTube. I had some. I was looking for some kind of cool shirts, and I bought a couple just to try, and they're like the super soft, silky shirts. And so I went on there and I just started. Every time they have new ones, I'm on there buying them, and they send you like discounts all the time, so they kind of suck you in.
Wow.
And my wife's cool with it, so I sell her art on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. I set up a booth. I set her up. She has a booth, and then I set up a booth and I sell her stuff to tourists and locals. And I always wear baseball card shirts. So I talk about baseball cards all the time. Like I customers from all over the world. And I get in deep conversations about cards, and people will notice, oh my gosh, that's a sick 1975. Yeah, Willie Stargell, Dave Parker. Like everybody, like my Bo Jackson 87 Topps card that I have a shirt. I get so everybody like from way far. Yeah, Bonos. Yeah, 87. It's pretty awesome. So
I'm gonna have to check that.
I love them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check the site out. Do they ever have Clemente shirts?
You know what? I haven't seen one yet, but I just keep checking, and I'm sure they'll get them at some point.
Yeah, I mean, Stargell's a sick one to have too, though. But I think that's also cool because I mean, as far as I know, you weren't exactly a Pirates fan. It's kind of cool how you're a fan of just players and teams and, the look of the card. So I just think that's really cool how you represent, other teams.
Yeah, I know. It cracks me up. Like you guys, you're like a one-track mind, like Pirates and like Scott Ranger Studios, like Indians only. I'm just like, this is the first year I've ever player collected in my life with the Mike Trout thing. So for me, that's all new. Before that, it was, dude, I just loved vintage cards regardless. I have addictions to certain ones, but I didn't matter. I liked all the logos on the card. So yeah.
So your channel is the only channel I know that can be summed up by 2 emojis, double Shaka. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So like what is, I think Shaka means a couple different things. So what does it mean?
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't even know. I don't know the official. I've never looked it up. But Shaka is just something that we do as surfers, and in Hawaii in particular. Everywhere I probably Shaka 100 times a day. When I'm driving, we have one lane over here, one road. So anytime you like let someone go, you go like this. And there's like casual Shakas too. When you don't want to like these is like yeah, bro. But no, normally you're like, if you want to be cool about it, like all the surfers, like we're just like walking on the beach, we just like throw one of these or like in the water. It's like a mellow, it's barely hanging, and you're like, it's hang loose. I think is what the shock is. It's just that I respect you, thank you, appreciative. I see you, things like that. And that's
cool.
that's what it represents. It's just a communication between surfers, and now it's gone much past surfers, and a lot of people do it, and
Wow.
I love it. I've been doing it my whole life. My friends always used to make fun of me because I had a bunch of double Shaka shirts, and because I've been dating my wife before we were married, I think I've been with her for like 15 years. Our 11-year anniversary is tomorrow, actually. So maybe even 16 years I've been with her, maybe even longer. And we were best friends 5 years before that. And I knew her family my whole life because I worked for her uncle, who was a shaper when I was in high school. So the Shaka's been in my repertoire forever. So that's the
cool.
Shaka story.
That's cool. In Pittsburgh, like when two males are about to cross paths and they don't really know each other, you get it's just like that, the little head nod. Yeah, that's all
I know what you mean there. Yeah, just acknowledge they exist, right?
Yeah,
yeah. We do one of these.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So I actually have a game. Sometimes I do an icebreaker. So the game's called Double Shaka or No Shaka.
All right. Great.
All right. So I'm gonna name some stuff in the hobby.
Okay.
And if you like it, if you agree with it, double Shaka. If you don't agree with it, you say no Shaka.
All right. Maybe a one Shaka for like middle ground.
Yeah, middle ground. All right. So PWCCC.
No Shakas.
No Shakas. Okay. Resubmitting cards to get better grades.
I could care less if you want to spend the money to resubmit your card. It doesn't mean you're going to get better grades. All you're doing is trying to get better grades. If you're touching up the card, cutting corners off it, totally different conversation. But simply, you don't like the grade you receive, you want to crack it open, try again, I could care less. You want to spend the money doing that? All four. So I'll go middle ground Shaka.
Okay. Actually, the next one was that trimming a card to restore it.
I did like Blue Jackets video. It totally different situations, different ballgame. Yeah. Something like that. It the story behind it. It's completely different than someone trimming a card, trying to get a 9 on a vintage card, and that was a 4 prior, and selling it because it's a 9 now. Trying to trick the system and cheat the system, and in my eyes, it's dishonest and shouldn't be a part of the hobby, and it never could be. But if it's your own card and and you send it in and you tell them this is trimmed, I want this authenticated, no problem. It's fantastic. Yeah. It says authentic on the case. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah. AI grading.
2 Shakas.
Okay. So Hawaii's known for Spam, canned ham. So what's your opinion on Spam?
I don't eat meat unless it's I will eat fish. Only time I'll eat like any other type of meat is if I'm at a friend's barbecue, we're drinking and there's just no food available. I'll eat anything at that point. Yeah. I'm not going to go out and buy that, but everyone loves it over here, and I'm sure it tastes good. It's all good. So I double Shaka even though I don't eat it.
Okay. eBay authentication.
I think it's a really good process. I'll give that a double Shaka, but I don't go. Everyone who complains about the authentication, like it takes long, all you got to do is get a P.O. box. I have a P.O. box, so I don't even get mail, doesn't even get delivered to my house. There is no such thing. So for some reason, my neighbors have it. Over here they have it, but for some reason where I live, there's no mail delivery. If you have a P.O. box, it skips the authentication altogether. eBay doesn't even do it. So even my Hank Aaron card that I got, no authentication was needed. It went straight to my house. There's downfalls to that because I bought another Hank Aaron rookie card after because I just wanted another one because I get addicted to certain cards, so I wanted 2. So I bought one, but I noticed it was from 4 sharp corners. I noticed that it looked like it had been someone tried to crack it open, so the sides were cracked. So I returned it. They let me return it, but that probably would have been caught in the eBay authentication. I like the concept. I think it's a safeguard, especially for ungraded cards. Some things are ridiculous. I think the system's good. So I'll give it a double Shaka, even though I've never even had one of those things. So that's not much, much experience.
I think the biggest negative I saw was Doug's situation where Doug the pictures were deceiving. Doug got the card, and instead of dealing with the seller directly, they forced him to deal with them directly. So I wasn't a big fan of that scenario. Hopefully they can figure out a way to fix that. And I also hope that they don't upcharge it for in the future, which why create this system if you're not going to upcharge for it? But hopefully they don't. So
yeah, I mean it's like anything. You release a product, there's going to be issues. There's always, in anything you do in life, there's always, but what about this?
Yep,
like
exactly.
You can't hit on all cylinders.
All right, so card breakers.
I'm totally cool with it. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome for the hobby. Double Shaka. Super fun.
It's double Shaka or no Shaka?
Yeah, I don't do it, but it's cool.
All right.
We're supposed to go fast.
Buying cards from an auction house site like REA or one of those sites. Double Shaka.
I've never done it. Go for it.
All right, here's the last one. Oddball non-base cards.
Double Shaka. Just because I don't collect them right now doesn't mean they're not cool. Double Shakas.
Let's start off. You got a Yogi Berra from Adam. It's there, right? Yep. So it's a red man. It's a beauty. And me and Matt, like we were starting to like oddball cards. And I know John Mangini doesn't like the term oddball cards, but it's the easiest way to talk about non-base cards. Once you get a couple, you start seeing the history of them. You see that red man back on it. It tells about turning in those. You don't have that on a Topps card. Is it starting to change your mind a little bit having that red man card?
Well, look, the red man in particular, I've wanted one of these cards for a long time. I think the image on there is insane. And I like card. This looks like a giant baseball card. Looks like a Gaudi card to me. And I don't know what it feels like, but it looks a little thicker. And like you said, the history is on the card. Like you send in like 62 wrappers. I read the whole thing, and like I held this in my hand last night for hours, and my wife is just like, I go, you got to take some pictures of me holding this. I sent it to Adam. Probably woke him up at like 11 o'clock last night, sending him photos of it. Am I going to go down a rabbit hole of other things? Like, I'm not a fan of blank back cards. I'm not a fan of black and white cards, but it doesn't mean I don't want black and white cards. I own some. I'm going to buy more of these cards right here, but it doesn't. I really like cards that came in packs, and I like Topps. Just because when I was a kid, that's what I recognized. That's what was in the store. So for me, it's endless. You could buy Topps cards as long as I'm alive and still go down that rabbit hole. But I will definitely go after other cards.
Nice.
And I'm supposed to do double Shakas for this one. So, but a lot of guys don't know, but I don't have card shows to go to. So, within the last 7 years, we have a little card show. They're all my friends, and I've met them through the years, and they set up a table once a month, and there's 2 vintage guys, and the same cards every day. Right? I bought all their cards already. So this whole new thing for me to go, and when I used to live on the mainland, I wasn't buying vintage cards at shows. I was going to Frank & Sons, and we'll get into that later with another question, but this will be the first time where I get a touch and see these cards that are like these red mans. Like every time I get a card from eBay, it's basically the first time I ever held that card in my life for the harder stuff, right? I didn't buy cards in stores. I've always been an eBay guy since 1998, 99. I've been an eBay guy.
Right.
That's how I've been doing it. So any card I get, it's basically the first time I ever held the card in my life. So I'm excited for the National to see different stuff out there, and who knows where I'm going to go after that.
Yeah. I've been eyeing up some red man cards because I don't have any yet, and Clemente doesn't appear on any. But I do agree the Yogi Berra is a classic. Outside the Yogi Berra, I think the Whitey Ford card is really nice. I don't know if you know what that one looks like. But
I was up to date. last night looking.
And then the Stan Musial cards are really cool. Is there any other Redman cards you have that you're going to pinpoint?
My collection is, I haven't said it on my channel or anything, but I'm not going to be buying any cards that aren't in my top tier anymore. I'm not going to be buying random Whitey Ford cards. I'm going to be sticking to a list that I'm creating. There's a Ted Williams card in that set. There's Willie Mays. I'm going to be sticking to guys like that
Nice.
for a lot of different reasons, but it's my collection and I can do what I want. So that,
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So let's get into YouTube a little bit. So how long have you been on YouTube now?
I think I started in January last year. So like a year and a half.
Nice. What was your expectation getting on? Like what did you think was gonna, be the outcome, and what was kind of your goals at that time, I guess?
My goal was I wanted to share I wanted to share my wall. I didn't know there were other people in the world that had displays like me. I built these displays way before YouTube, before I knew what YouTube was, before I knew about podcasts for baseball cards. And I had displays all my life growing up. In the kitchen pantry, I had displays of cards. I mean, in my closets, you name it, I've had cards displayed forever. So once I listened to podcasts, Mike Moynihan's, and then started going down that rabbit hole, and then finally going, I'm gonna have to watch these. I didn't want to get on YouTube. I don't use Twitter. I have an Instagram account for ponds. I build ponds. I have huge koi ponds and turtles and stuff. I barely even keep up with that. And I make money at that, and I barely even do it. And I Facebook, don't even do it. I have one only for high school things and just random messages from people, but I do not go on there. There's only so much you can really dive into, right? So for me, the YouTube was a big jump, but I wanted to share my collection. That was the whole point. I didn't know that the friendship thing was going to happen in reality, and it was really weird in the beginning, and people talking to me, my first live, not me being on it live, but just being in the chat live, my heart was pounding like a rocket ship. I mean, I was so scared to type in hi you guys, how's it going? I was scared to death. I'm not an open, this is insane to me. A year and a half ago, if you told me I was going to be sharing my thoughts and feelings over the internet for the world to have stored in their database and for people to listen to, never in a million years. People think that I'm really outgoing and I would be not shy at all on camera. I am definitely outgoing and not shy in person. Never, I don't get nervous like that. I can talk in front of people, but this was scary to me. And my first video, man, I was pounding them back before I did the video. I was just I was drunk. And I go back and I watched my first video and I'm like, dude, you kind of can't tell. My wife was filming, she was right there, and she's like, yeah, keep going, yeah. And I was just I couldn't do it without. I was too nervous.
Yeah.
And now, I don't need anything. I got water, and that's what I expected. What happened is a whole different thing. So
that's cool.
That's how I started.
I mean, it's kind of like you said, sometimes you just got to take that first step, put yourself out there, and just trust that there's good people out there. And it's really cool how you work through, you want to call it an anxiety type of thing, but it's cool that you work through that. And hopefully somebody, sees that and they know that, it's possible, you can get through it. So that's really cool, man. Cause
you touched on the anxiety thing was real. You start sweating, you start getting nervous. You start talking a lot, and I don't get nervous anymore on YouTube. I just no matter whose show I'm on, I honestly did not. This is inspiration for other people. I did not think I'd ever come to the state where I could just be calm and collective and just be myself. That isn't nervous and sweaty. And
that's really cool. And
awesome.
and you've been on podcasts that you listened to prior that you could never probably imagine that you would have ended up on those podcasts. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I was really nervous on Mike Moynihan's the first time I was on with him. I was super nervous. I was like, it gave me a lot of anxiety. But once we started talking, and once you forget, and then you start, and then the second time I was on, it was just like we had been friends for a long time, and you just talk, and I get wound up. I get fired up. I'll take over the whole show if you let me. It just that's where I'm at now, and I love it. It's so fun. I mean, you're a natural. Since you came on, you've never been nervous. I don't know if that's always been the case for you, but you feel like it feels coming across you just jammed into it, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit nerve-wracking at first, the first time I did like behind the cards and stuff, but I did it with like John and stuff, who I already had prior conversations with, to kind of not just somebody I only texted before. But I did 10 years of management. So I kind of had experience talking to people and interviewing people and things like that. So I'm kind of already, wired that way to kind of be a little bit more outgoing, I guess you could say. So,
yeah, you're good at it. So.
Oh, thanks, man. What's your favorite types of videos to make?
I like doing solo videos. I like one-on-ones. If there's like 4 people on there, I really enjoy those if it's the right people, and I do like to have cocktails with friends. When I'm hanging out with my friends, I like to drink. When I'm by myself, I can just talk about whatever I want and go down any rabbit hole I want. I can say anything I want to say. So I'm one of those guys who I really do like doing personal videos. I mean, I could talk for 2 hours on a video. But with that said, there isn't too much. There's almost nothing more fun than having drinks with card friends. Yeah. And that's what I'm looking forward to. It sounds like I'm an alcoholic. I don't drink that, but I love drinking with friends because your guard is taken down, and I can talk and say things that I want to say and be personal with other people. And me and my wife always joke around when any of our friends like quit drinking. We're like, there goes that friendship. Or if they have kids, that's another one. Guess we won't see them anymore.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like when me and my wife had kids, it was just like my friends are like, I guess we're not going to see you anymore. I guess you're going to have your new neighborhood friends to hang out with.
Totally. And the best part, like friends who have kids, when there is a group setting and they do drink, dude, they're like blacked out. They're so drunk and they get so silly, and you're like, dude, because they're like cooped up or something. And then you have to like babysit them. And I'm like, dude, this is too much. I mean, I've had some crazy stories about guys who had kids and, and then they just get wild and you're like, whoa. Fuck.
It's like Frank the Tank.
Yeah. Oh, full blown.
We're going streaking.
Yeah.
Something, I asked you what your favorite types of video to make. The videos that I first started really liking of yours was you did you ranked the 60s card sets, and that was really inspirational for me. That was before I was on YouTube, and it made me want to give my opinion and make a channel and things like that. It was one of the things that I really enjoyed, and that was a solo video. And then you eventually, recently you branched out and did like the 50s, the 60s, the 70s with groups of guys, and those were amazing too. So I'm a sucker for ranking videos personally. You just did the 1962 card ranking video. I'm a sucker for ranking videos, so but those are my favorite for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Ranking videos are sick, and I love doing those. I actually still have the 2000s to do. I just kind of took a break right now. Just needed. I've got a lot going on right now, so
that's cool, man. So what? I guess in a nutshell, what if we look at 5 years down the road? is Dylan only doing cards, or are you still kind of in the same place? You're doing your side job and you're doing cards the same way. Like what's your your goals, I guess, with cards?
I mean, I have an eBay store. I'm a top seller in there. I've been selling on eBay forever. I sell common cards, and when I say common cards, I mean inserts, anything that comes in packs that isn't crazy expensive. All mostly all under $20. I mean, I got the new printer where it just or the new scanner that scans a million at a time. I want to have 50,000. I want to max out my eBay thing. I'd like to have 50,000 cards up for sale. I'd like to do that for a living, like Bo, million card Cubs, Bo. That's my goal, would be to do that and ship out all the cards I have. I have loads in boxes. I used to open cases and cases, so I have thousands of cards that will sell. I just need to list them. As far as I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I have a business. My wife has a business. Her business is sucking up my business because now I work for her more than anything. Shipping orders out all the time. So I don't know what I'm going to be. I used to have a full-time job for 20 years, 40, 50, 5 hours a week. And I retired basically, and I reinvented my whole self. I wasn't really planning on really working again, except for doing things that I really wanted to do. And that's what I've done. And I've created a business. I have a yard business. It's more than yards, but it's just me. And it's done really well. And it's been fun. But I'm getting to that point where I'm like sick of doing that, because now I don't want to do my own yard. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, I don't know. Life's so I don't need to work. So it's a new place for me, where I can have this freedom and just kind of do whatever I want to do. I surf every day. I work about 8 hours a week. So it's not a lot of work going on over here. So the rest is just like finding something I really love to do and then going after it, and then turning that off when I get bored and starting another business. I don't know where the future is going to go, but I'm excited for it.
Oh, that's cool, man. I'm happy. If you're doing something you love, it's not really working. So I'm sure you put more hours into cards, selling them and stuff like that, and it's just doesn't feel like work. So I think that's cool, man. I did want to ask you. You seem to find a lot of good deals on eBay. What's kind of your kind of your strategy on eBay to get good deals? Are you a buy it now guy? Are you an auction guy? How do you find the cards? What's your strategy to find good deals on vintage cards?
I mean, since I'm going on the eye appeal thing, it's way harder. But to simplify things, I call it going to the card show. I get on my phone and I'm sitting. If I'm relaxing, I'll look at the next 3 hours, see what's ending, and then I'll like the ones that I want to follow all the way till the end, and then I'll set my alarm. I think you do the same thing. I do not have a snipe set up because I know I will get into trouble. I will snipe all kinds of things, and then it's just like, because I used to, I used to do like early bids, and then I started realizing that I was just winning too much stuff, and I'm like, I can't be buying this much card. So now if I miss it, I miss it. If I'm there, I will hit it. Literally when it says 1 second, even like a second after it says 1 second, to beat the snipe guys, because most people put their snipes at 1 second or 2 seconds. So I'm always after the snipe guys. And that's just kind of how I do it. I don't look up comps for 98% of the cards I'm buying, especially when I'm going off eye appeal, but I'm not going, if the card, I know what cards are worth. Like if I'm buying, I know what all these cards are worth. So say I'm buying this Pete Rose PSA 7, you're not going to be spending $150. If it looks really good, you're like, all right, I'm going to put in a bid of $67.51. Boom. And then that's what the card's worth to me. I don't care about comps, but there's always exceptions. If there's rare cards, and modern cards are so easy to buy. Modern cards are too easy and scary to buy because they all look the same. A PSA 9, you just type it in and then you just look at comps, and you're like, okay, dee-dee-dee. Vintage
Yeah.
is a whole nother world and so much harder, and there's so much more that goes into it. I buy cards all the time now that I think are absolutely perfect, and then I get them, and I'm like not happy with it. I just relist it. I sell it. I'm not scared to do that anymore. I used to not do that. That's why I accumulated 800 vintage graded cards over the years, because I just go, I'll sell them one day. Well, the one day was a year ago or a year and a half ago when I started realizing that I wanted to change my collection completely. So yeah, getting good deals is a matter of just
So to be honest with you, I've never really done that 3 hours to the auction end strategy, because my net's not as big as yours. I only go after like 3 players. So it's not really, it's never applied to me. But do you type in eBay? Do you literally just type in baseball cards, or do you type in baseball
PSA.
cards?
I type in PSA. That's it.
PSA?
PSA.
Okay.
Now, if I'm looking for like Mike Trout golds, I'll type in Mike Trout gold PSA.
Okay.
And then I'll look, and then if there's nothing coming up, then I'll go to SGC, then I'll go to CSG, then I'll go to BGS.
Gotcha.
Those are my last. But I rarely hunt down an in particular card and put offers in, but I have, and I will. But it's not my forte. I'm just like to see what's coming and hit and miss.
Yeah, let's talk about Mike Trout. So I guess I'll call it the Mike Trout project. I don't know what else to call it, but you recently went hog wild, and you bought a whole bunch of numbered Mike Trout cards. A lot of them are gold. I made the if anybody ever saw Austin Powers, there was one called Gold Member. I love gold. so I gave you a hard time about that on text that you love gold. But what? So first off, you probably said it on your channel, but I just don't want to put words in your mouth. Would you consider this an investment, a collection, or both?
Both, 100%. It's a marriage for me.
Okay.
I'm not planning on selling these cards.
Okay.
Anytime. I'm not selling these cards until 10, 20 years from now when he's in the Hall of Fame. Now, I have doubles of some. So say he won the MVP in the next few seasons or something crazy, and they skyrocketed, and I have a couple of big doubles, and I'm willing to, and I bought them because, well, I'm like, man, I love the card. I get addicted to certain cards, like I say, and that way, if they do double and I want a vintage card at the time, then I can sell it and buy something else. But I bought these because, you want me to go into it right now? Why I really bought Mike Trout cards? I mean,
yeah. If you wanna summarize why you bought Mike Trout cards, I'm good with that.
So, I've always wanted to own Mike Trout cards, but I was late to the game. I didn't buy them for years and years, and then it's just like, I'm never gonna buy a base card of Mike Trout's rookie card. They just kept going up and up. I'm like, there was millions. I never thought in a million years a base card from a modern pack would be worth more than, say, $40. Like, never in a million years. Like the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, like $50. I never thought it would be worth more. And so I just missed the boat on them completely. Well, once the pandemic hit, everything skyrocketed, as everybody knows. All the ultra modern stuff just went through the roof, and all the 80s stuff, the 90s stuff. The only things that didn't go up during the initial 6-7 months of the boom, vintage didn't move. And I was just, I was always buying it. I just kept buying it. And I was just like, at some point, there's going to be a rotation into vintage, because I knew those were going to fall down. They're no different than stocks, no different than anything else I've bought in my life. So once they tanked, I go, dude, this is the time. It's not like I was getting deals like they're cheaper than they were in 2016, but I was buying them for the price that they were before the pandemic hit. Like the gold Mike Trout card that I bought was like $2,000. That thing was like $6,000, $7,000 at the peak. So I'm like, $2,000. This is my time. I had just sold a bunch of vintage cards. I had the money. I'm going to start collecting Mike Trout cards. And I went for the golds, because golds to me have the legitimacy of tops as a collector. since the winners and the winner Topps Gold cards back when I was a kid in 92, 91, whenever that was. Golds have been made ever since. And then 2001, they started numbering the golds. So I really wanted to go after that. I did not want to buy base cards. I just think they're cool to own. Nothing wrong with them. But as like an investment standpoint, as a money standpoint, I'm like, there's millions of them. And I wanted a numbered card. So I, just like anything in life, I used to be a huge gambler. And you know, to go into it, you know, I've bought and sold, you know, this is my, you know, fourth house that I've bought, and this one I haven't sold yet. This is my forever home, but along the way, I bought my first house when I was 21 years old, I think, or 22 years old. So I've taken chances in my life, all my life, all in. And it's not like someone didn't hand me a bunch of money. You know, I worked my butt off. I was working in high school. I didn't go to college. So I just saved a bunch of money. And they were giving loans out to anyone back in 2002 or 2001. So I just am used to going all in on things and taking chances in life. And it slowly builds and builds and builds. And I did that numerous times until living here. And now the final thing. And I did that with stocks as well. My uncle was a stockbroker, and I gave him $4,000 that I made in high school. I gave him $4,000. And in 6 years, it was worth less than what originally happened because 2008 crashed, right? So and I was just like, dude, he's a stockbroker and I have less money. I'm like taking control of my own money. I'm taking control of my own destiny. Yeah. I've always been someone who wanted to have control. If I lose the money investing in a stock, hey, at least I did it. It's not hard. You pick a company you like and you sit there. So just like this, there's no guarantee that this is going to go up. These could be cut in half. But at some point, you know, you jump in on things and you go for it. And then there's moments that you go all in and you just do it. So I went all in and bought a whole bunch, and I'm still buying them today. I have, I want to say 85 graded Mike Trout cards now.
Wow. Did you bring some? Did you bring some to show?
Yeah, I got some. So my favorite one is this one right here. And I have two of these minis now. And this is numbered to 65. And this is the gold. And then I have I collect all his rookie gold cups, 2013. I just love them. And I think they're really, like, as a collector, gold cups are just the greatest. I love them.
Wow.
So I collect all of them. I have a ton of them. This one's numbered to 2013 as well. And then I've got a 2011 refractor numbered to 199 as rookie. That's a big dollar card. And then I got his gold.
Which one is the $2,000 card? You don't have it with you right now.
This one is.
That one is. And what's that numbered to?
This one is numbered to 2011.
Okay, and that's his rookie year, right?
Yeah, this is the iconic card. So this is like the card if you're gonna get a Mike Trout card. This is the one you want. This is a high dollar card too, probably a couple grand here. This is numbered to 199. Okay. And then one of my favorites is 87 Topps version, 2012. I buy mostly his early cards, 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16. I'm not buying a lot of the new stuff. I'm just buying the golds of those. Gotcha. Of course, I have exceptions, but I have a huge book of just 2013, 12, and I have, I think, like 6 rookies now. Nice. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I could be dead wrong and I could lose all my money, but I don't care. That's not, I mean, I care, but I like collecting them. I have a whole wall right here of Mike Trout cards now. It's just so fun. And all Angels. I'm an Angels fan. I've been an Angels fan my whole life. So, yeah, I think as collectors, sometimes once that snowball starts rolling, we start gaining momentum, and then all of a sudden you got every Red Man card, or you got every this card, because I know that feeling sometimes of just like, you know what I mean? The snowball starts rolling and you just start buying. I get it. I do. It's very, and like I said, modern stuff's so easy to buy because you're not eye appeal's the same on all of them. You
just
look at it, type in the grade, and you wait for the auction, or it's too
the other
easy.
thing, exactly. And the other thing about it, I'm sure, is you can do offers to people and you have leverage. Sometimes with a vintage card, it's like there's two here. Like, and a lot of times they don't even have best offer there. Like you literally pay what they say, or you wait for an auction. You can't offer $1,000 less than offer or whatever and get it basically.
Totally. And the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, we're all looking for different things in vintage. One, you could have 100 of the same card, and they all look different. I mean, one time I had like 20 Robin Yount rookie cards on my wall at one time. I only have 8 now. I sold a whole bunch. I only have 8 left. They're all perfectly centered and really clean. But I put them all on there, and I loved staring at them and looking at the different ones.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's like Andy Warhol, like the Campbell soup thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I have a couple questions here. We got about 20 minutes left, so we'll try to keep each of these about 5 minutes. So one of the questions I asked you to prepare for was what your favorite top set of all time is and why is it? And show some cards. So what is it?
1975 top, and it's the reason it's my favorite set of all time is when I was a kid. I've told this story numerous times, but anyone who hasn't heard it, I was at my friend Ty's house. I was probably 7 to 9 years old. He had a stack of 75 Topps cards on his shelf. He didn't know what they were. He wasn't a baseball player. We were over there like playing video games, and we just were in his room. And I grabbed them, and I'm looking through them, and sure enough, I'm in reverse. Sure enough, I came across the Robin Yount rookie card, and it blew my mind. It was the most expensive card I ever held in my life. It was worth $27 back then. And It was like 87 or 88, something like that in that year. So ever since then, I've been addicted to that card. I've owned hundreds of them over the years. I just have a major problem with it. And that set obviously is part of it, and it just builds on me. I have more 75 Tops than anything. George Brett rookies, I think I have 7 of them.
Nice.
Still trying to buy them. I was just watching an auction while this was going, and I'm like, oh, I missed it.
Dude, you have to find a sealed pack of it.
I have a sealed pack. I have an OPG graded.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a 75 mini OPG in a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt there's many sealed the regular size ones left out there. What would they go for nowadays? I
think a couple $100 each.
Okay.
I think the OPG minis that's probably a pretty high dollar one now. I bought it for like $20 or something way back in the day.
Wow.
It's probably $400 now, but I'm totally guessing. I've never looked that card up. I never looked up the pack. I just love having it. So
yeah. Well, that's what I started. Since I collected Pokemon when I was, between like 8 and 12, I started trying to collect some of the packs because I knew the cards that I would be looking for were probably not in there, but I felt like that sense of nostalgia of just having the pack. Just I don't know. So
Dude, exactly. That's exactly it. It's exactly it could be in there. And just knowing you just takes you back to that time you wanted to be there. You're like, why didn't you buy a whole bunch of 1999 Pokemons and just keep a box? If all of us as kids, if our parents would have just bought double every present and put it upstairs, we'd all be multi-millionaires now. It's so funny to think. You just every Nintendo game I ever bought, my parents just bought 2 of them and saved one. Just one, just Mario Brothers 1. Like you just it's so funny to think.
I know, it's crazy. I have been doing that with my son. I've been putting away a pack of cards every time. He's like up to like 30 some packs, but it's crazy overprinted now. But at least it'll give him something to have when he's older, and even if it's not worth anything, you can still look at them. So
well, the overprinting thing is overblown. I don't care if they print billions and billions of cards. It doesn't make anything less rare when you pull a rare card. When you pull a card that's hard in a pack, that card's still rare. it's still hard to get. And it's literally rare because they stamp it with a number. There's only so many of them. I don't care if they print millions and billions of base cards. It doesn't affect my hobby. It shouldn't affect anyone's hobby because that just means more. Everyone complains about them being too expensive for kids. They're not. Cards are not expensive for kids. I mean, $2 for a pack of cards. You know, blasters are $30 now, so maybe $3 for a pack of cards. That's nothing. When I was a kid, they were the dollar for Upper Deck. I never even could afford the things. 50 cents for tops or 35 cents. In all reality, it's the same as they are today. And you can still pull a magical card out of them more than you could pull a magical card when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
We didn't have autograph cards and number cards and parallel cards. So, yeah, there is actually more of a treasure hunt than there was when we were kids. But the next question I had for you was about the population report. What's the lowest population card you own, and what's your thoughts on the population report?
This is my lowest pop card, my vintage card, and this is a Duke Snyder 1950. It's a 9 OC. So whether you want to call that a 7, because people take 2 grades off, PSA even does, but technically there's only 6 9s, and then there's 2 that are designated OC. There's no 10. So that's technically my lowest population card in vintage. And it's a regular vintage card.
How'd you acquire that card?
I bought that in the peak of the pandemic when everyone was still buying ultra modern stuff. And I found that card. I'm like, this thing is sick. And I looked up past history to see when it had sold, what it had sold for. And the last time it sold for like $595. So I put in a bid of like $350 or something, and I got it for $295, I think it was. Wow. So I got it $300 cheaper from when the guy bought it like 4 years prior. And then 4 years prior to that, it was even higher. So the pop reports, to me, my honest truth, the vintage thing, I never once looked at the pop report, except when I bought that card, and I didn't even mean to look at the pop report. I just looked up to see when it had sold last, and then the numbers came up. I don't care about the pop report on vintage stuff. It doesn't matter. It's eye appeal that matters to me. An 8, there's so many 8s that are off-centered and uglier than 5s and 4s, and obviously, I was buying high grades when I was collecting. I was buying 7s and 8s because they were cheap. And I like the pack fresh sense, but I have changed, and I'm going towards eye appeal. So the pop reports mean nothing to me. I don't play in the 8 and 9, 10 vintage card market, so I don't care. If you want to spend all your money on, you buy this Joe Morgan, buy this card for, say, $50 for an 8 or $1,000 for a 9, dude. Be my guest, buy $1,000 for a 9. I think it's insane. I think the risk on that is way greater than the risk on buying an 8 for $50. So I'm not sold on buy the most expensive, highest grade on vintage. I think that's a rich man's game and a game that I'm never going to be playing in.
Yeah.
And if you got in early, then you got lucky. And that's fantastic. But I think they have a lot of room to come down. I've been saying it for like 2 years now. I think the high-end vintage market has a big gap to be filled by these high eye appeal cards will gain, and I think the high-grade stuff is going to come down. Yeah. High-grade, good-looking, different, but there's a lot of high-grade stuff that is not good. Yeah. So that's my kind of thoughts. Pop reports on modern stuff, you have to have it. That's what makes them. So I'm totally on board on that.
Well, the one argument that I would have for you about vintage, and I don't want to even call it an argument, is like we talked about earlier, I'm kind of in the oddball field right now, and you're not really in that. You're in the base card field, and like the bazooka cards, like the Clemente bazooka card I got a 1971. It had like 60. Like I looked up the pop, and there's like 60 graded. So that told me that there's not a lot out there. And then I looked at recent sales, and there wasn't hardly any comps to look at to try to figure out what to bid. So like I agree with when it comes to vintage base cards, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. But when it comes to cards that are like under 100, it kind of gives you that idea of you're gonna have to, this isn't gonna come around again. You might have to get in there. So
yeah, I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
I'm also not sold on the oddball stuff, like the stuff that has low pop. Doesn't mean it's going to be worth more, in my opinion, because collectors. I like to collect the stuff that you pulled in packs. I like to collect the common stuff. I know there's millions of these out there, but there's not millions that look really good.
Right.
So that's kind of how I approach it. I don't want a bunch of cards that like there's those supers that have like blank backs on them. I'd rather have the one that has the actual card on the back with the info than a rare version that has a blank back. And I think in the future, I don't see that harder one to pull being worth more money than a really good looking regular one, just because there's more collectors that, in my opinion, want the normal stuff than the rare stuff. Now, obviously, you can counter that with, guys who bought these caramels and stuff, but I don't consider that stuff like those are normal sets. I'm thinking more of like the stuff you're talking about, the super crazy stuff that you never see. I don't see like there's a market for that, but it's such a small little market. It's a niche thing. Are those going to skyrocket one day? My opinion would be no, but I could be 100% wrong. And
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. See, I'm looking at it more of an as a collector, not as I'm going to have to resell this in the future. I'm looking at it more of this might be my chance to get this at a reasonable price because there's not that many of them, and not as much of is this going to hold its value in 10 years. But I definitely hear what you're saying. They obviously, if they were the same as base cards, they would sell for like a crazy amount more because of how rare they are, and they don't sell for that much more. So I definitely get where you're coming from. So
it's cool. Sorry, it's cool as a collector to know there's only 100 of these in the world, right? Or that at least there's a finite amount. So as a collector, I totally get that too. Really cool to own something that, dude, no one else has this, or only a small little amount have it. So I get where you're coming from too. There's no wrong way to collect.
No, and that's the thing about that's another thing with me and you. We don't always see eye to eye on every single topic, but me and you are always able to talk through stuff, and that's what makes it fun, because I like to have friends who don't think the same way as me, because me and you went back and forth a little about PSA recently, which was really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
So the last question I had for you is, if you had a crystal ball and somebody came up to you and said, what vintage player is card values are going to be so high in the next 10 years, I should just buy their cards now. What player would you think that would be?
I mean, everyone says Willie Mays, but I say Ted Williams and Hank Aaron.
Okay.
Why I say that is because I think they're just really undervalued. And you look at Hank Aaron's stats. I mean, like his final playing days card it's crazy. I thought I had it out here. I mean, he was the most consistent player of all time, I feel like. And then Ted Williams, he was like, dude, in this 58 card right here, in 57, he was 38 or 39 years old, and he got the batting title. He was batting like 388. I think the stats speak for themselves on that. People are really into the WAR thing, and guys like Willie Mays have a higher WAR. But guys like Ted Williams, to me, are the epitome of legend. Like, I mean, so is Willie Mays, of course, right? But
yeah.
I mean, Ted Williams is like, dude, he's like a god. He's like, he's like Jesus. He didn't walk. Did he really walk the face of the earth? Like, he really did. Like, this is the real deal. He was really alive at one point, right? And to me, that's what gets me. And Hank Aaron, his rookie card to me is so undervalued because it is Hank Aaron. Like, we're talking about the home run king. Sorry, Bonds. This is the legit home run king until someone breaks that, in my opinion, and in obviously, in most people's opinion, because of you can see where the prices are with bond stuff, most people would agree with me. I don't care what the record book says. You know, it's like
is it the best looking rookie card based on eye appeal in the business? Or
to
do
me,
you have,
it is. To me, it is.
yeah.
I'm in awe that I have one finally. I never thought I'd own one. So yeah, I could just when that's on my wall, it's hard to take my eyes off it.
Yeah, it's an iconic rookie card. It really is. It's just perfect. So I think that's a cool answer. I think Stan Musial also, like, we hear a lot of our collector friends talk about him, and you know, when you could buy his base cards for like $30 to $50, like he doesn't have a lot of them either. You know, he was only in so many sets. It's pretty crazy. You know, even if he went up 50% in the next 10 years would be, you know what I'm saying, for how cheap they are now. I feel like he's somebody who's way undervalued right now for what
Dude, you're so right. I mean, he's like, yeah, his stuff's so inexpensive. It's baffling.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how you do here. So I counted. We have eight people in a row have done the 10 questions in a minute. Do you feel confident that you're going to be able to do this?
I don't even. Yeah, I mean, dude, I am not good at tests or anything. So yeah, just lay it on me.
All right, man. It's all right. There's no wrong answers here. You just give me your best answer. It's easy. All right, man. All right, I'll start my timer after the first question. Would you rather be at the National or a big surfing event?
National.
How many days a year do you surf?
332.
Best 1960s top set?
1962.
Your favorite thing to eat for breakfast?
Beans.
Best baseball player not named Babe Ruth?
Ted Williams.
Favorite place to go on vacation?
Another island.
Okay. Best grading company?
PSA.
If you had to be an animal, which one would you pick?
Bird.
Your favorite baseball field or park?
Anaheim Stadium.
Jaws versus King Kong. Who wins?
Jaws.
No, you have a ton of time left, man.
Woo! All right. Yeah, I have a Jaws box right up there. It was easy for me.
I knew you. So what? So Jaws versus King Kong. So obviously it would have to happen in like a pool of water, you know, because somebody would have to win. So Jaws already has a big advantage there, you know. So I was thinking that was probably the right answer.
I just like I have a fascination with sharks, so it was a no-brainer for me. I'm in the ocean. That's all I care about.
Well, thanks. And this, you know, I've been wanting to do this for a while, man, and it's awesome you came on, man, and I really appreciate it. It was it's great to get to know you better and get to see more of your cards, and you just have an epic show, man. You're an inspiration to so many out there, and I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, dude. Thanks, Theo. That was a blast. It was super fun. Thanks, dude. Ew. Double shotgun.
All right. I'll see everybody on the next one.